Hello my dear friends, in this video I will show you how to paint a koi fish in the pond. For this tutorial I will use 6 watercolors. You can use colors that you have in your palette. I will use Cobalt Turquoise by Schmincke, Cadmium Orange Deep by Schmincke, Phtalo Blue by Daniel Smith, Ruby by White Knights, Payne's Grey by Van Gogh. I will also use burnt sienna. I just forgot to record it for the video. If you don't have burnt sienna, you can use cadmium orange deep or any other orange shade. I will use 3 brushes, number 12 Escoda Perla, number 4 Escoda Reserva and number 10 Renesans Mop brush for painting the pond. You can find the link to the reference photo in the description, and let's get started. I already applied masking liquid and now I will prepare color mix for painting the koi fish. I will start by covering the body of the fish with a clean water, leaving some unpainted area in the middle, like a thin line. For this orange color, I'm using Cadmium Orange Deep by Schmincke, also some red shades and yellow that I have on the palette. I'm using Ruby by White Knights to add more red shade, and I'm mixing red with orange and apply this color straight onto the wet surface. Wet on wet technique is perfect for painting the koi fish because you see how color creates this pattern blending on the surface. Now we will also add some Payne's gray color to create these dark spots and gray areas, and it is already looking like it's a pattern of the koi fish. Now I can add some Cobalt Turquoise into the Payne's Gray to create this cold gray shade on the left side of the body. Now I want to add some more red shade into the color mix to make more bright spots on the back of the fish. I apply this red color also on the edge of the head and on the left side, creating more intense color value. Just keep in mind to keep some areas light and to not cover everything in orange or red color. Also, if you don't have orange color or like pre-made orange, you can just use a mix of red and yellow. Now I can apply some more opaque Payne's gray color into the wet surface, creating these little spots on top of the first layer. The color also blends a little bit with the existing color, but it creates very nice effect without letting the color travel a lot. I want to mix some darker red shade, so I'm mixing ruby and Payne's gray. Also a little bit of orange will be suitable in this case. I apply this dark red color on the right side of the fish, still keeping this white unpainted area in the middle. And again, I'm wetting the surface with a clean water or almost clean, and I apply the color onto the wet surface. Here I'm using cadmium orange dip. Now I apply opaque Payne's gray color closer to the middle line to highlight this difference between the right side and left side, and the middle flipper that will be light area in the middle, separating these two parts. I can also apply some black spots with wet on dry technique, so the spots won't blend with the previous layer. Now I want to mix some more muddy orange color, so I add a little bit of Payne's gray and Cobalt turquoise to the orange color to create this muted orange shade, and I apply it on the tail of the fish. I will leave it like this for now, and I will move to painting the head. And first I will cover the area with a clean water. And as previous steps, I apply orange color into the wet surface. The head will be brighter than the body, so I apply a more red shade into this color mix and use more opaque colors, so the first layer will be pretty dark and intense. On the right side of the head I need to apply shadows, so I'm mixing Phtalo blue and ruby, and I apply this dark red shade on the right side. I almost don't add water into this color mix to keep colors very opaque and dark. I will apply this color on the left side as well on the wet surface, so the color would smoothly blend. Now I will move to painting the side flippers, and I will start with the right one. First I apply a clean water, and I will start by applying Cobalt Turquoise into the wet surface. Now I will load my brush with a very bright orange color, and I will apply it closer to the body, straight onto the wet surface, so the color again would create this nice blurry effect. Now let's do the same with the left flipper. To tone down Cobalt Turquoise, I'm using a mix of Cobalt Turquoise and a little bit of Cadmium orange tip. It even doesn't look very different, but it's just a little bit more muted. The nose of the fish is almost white, so I apply clean water and just a little bit of orange and Cobalt Turquoise, keeping this area very light. While this area is getting dry, I will move again to the painting body, and I will use mix of Phthalo blue and Payne's gray and apply it on the right side of the body of the fish, creating this dark shadow. Now, using wet on dry technique, I can reapply some dark spots on the body of the fish. I'm using Payne's gray color, just pure and very opaque, and I apply it in some places, especially closer to the middle line, to highlight this separation with a flip in the middle. I can also apply some red shade as well. Now let's mix some Cobalt Turquoise, Phtalo blue and a little bit of Payne's gray and paint a bit side flippers. I'm using orange color from the tube mixed with a bit of Payne's gray that is left on the palette, and I apply this color on both flippers. We also have this little flipper on this side, on the right side, so I apply first clean water, then Cobalt Turquoise, and then mix of Phthalo blue and Payne's gray. And just a little bit of mix orange and red to create more muted shade. Now let's paint the tail. I apply clean water as always and orange color that I have on the palette straight to the wet surface. But not everywhere, in just some areas. Then I apply mix of Cobalt turquoise and a little bit of orange, this muted color in again some areas. And a little bit of Phtalo blue. Now I want to reapply some orange color on the head of the fish, creating more bright area. At this point, I'm almost done with painting the koi fish and I want to move to painting the water. I will switch to the bigger brush and I will prepare my color mixes on the palette. I'm mixing Cobalt turquoise with a little bit of Phtalo blue, creating this color for the water. And I need a pretty big puddle because I will work in wet on wet technique, and it means that I will have to paint very fast. I will also prepare a mix of Cobalt turquoise and burnt sienna. It creates very nice natural shade for painting the water, sea, ocean, etc. It has a bit greenish color and it's perfect for our purpose. I can also add a little bit of burnt sienna to Phtalo blue to create this color for the water, for the shadows. I'm done with preparing the color mixes and now I will just cover the whole area of the water with a clean water. I use my big mop brush to just cover a big area. I'm not covering the area of the fish, however, I can cover the area of the flippers with this water because they will look a bit turquoise underwater and it's okay. Once I covered the whole paper, I will apply just pure Cobalt turquoise as a first layer and basic color to the most of the areas, using also mix of Cobalt turquoise and burnt sienna. Now I need to apply some darker areas and darker waves, especially around the koi fish and in the left corner. So I'm using mix of Phtalo blue and burnt sienna and I carefully apply it on the left side of the fish. And also using these brush strokes in the direction of this water. I'm just applying this color on the corners. Unfortunately, I ran out of this dark color mix, so I have to recreate it again, and I'm losing precious time because the paper is getting dry very fast. I'm also switching to the quill brush, but you can use any brush that is more convenient for you. And I'm moving to painting this shadow under the fish on the surface of the water. It is repeating a bit the shape of the fish with the flippers, but still it has to be blurry and with a vague shape, without any sharp edges. At this point you have to be careful because the paper already could get dry, and in this case you have to wait until it gets fully dry and just re-wet the whole surface with a clean water very carefully to not drag the first layer. But my paper is still a bit damp, so I apply again and again darker color. Here I'm painting over the flipper to create this very natural shadow. And if you will take a look at the reference, you will see this shadow very clearly. Now my main task is to create a dark background around the fish to make it pop. So I have to apply this dark color again and again, creating this nice contrast between the bright and light fish and dark color of the water. I can already see that color doesn't blend evenly, and in some areas I see these rough edges of the wet surface, so I have to either stop applying the color or carefully re-wet the surface. I will just carefully re-wet the surface because I'm not done with applying this color. Now is the perfect time to apply orange drops in the top left corner, just like I see on the reference. And actually this little detail made me want to paint this koi fish in the water because I find it very attractive and artistic. You can create these nice droplets and to let them blend only with watercolor. And okay, let's continue and come back to painting the water. And I see that we basically lost the intensity of the reflection and shadow below the fish in the water, so I have to reapply the color mix of Phtalo blue and burnt sienna under the fish. Using clean and dry brush, I'm trying to remove some of the color, lift the color from the wet surface, creating these highlights on the water. Now, while the surface is still wet, I will try to create some shapes like the reflections on the water. I have a few exercises that I shared on YouTube on how to paint the waves, the water, and reflections on the water. You can take a look to see how you can learn to paint it. Now is the most difficult part, because I didn't have a chance to paint properly some texture on the water on the right corner, and now I want to fix it, but I have to reapply water to make some more smooth edges of this direction of the water. Of course, the ideal scenario is that you can paint everything all at once and reapply the color again and again until the paper will get dry, and you do it in one layer. Because if you have to re-wet the surface, it is always tough because you have rough edges. To be honest, I'm painting this type of painting for the first time with the water reflection under the koi fish and all this direction of the waves, and I already see what I can do differently next time. And main idea is that I have to work very fast and to not come back as a second layer. Well, okay, it doesn't look very awful, it looks fine, I think, and actually I think I'm done, and I can remove the masking liquid once the paper will get fully dry. I'm using fingers and the other side of the brush to remove the masking fluid. Actually, if you don't have the masking fluid, it's okay, you could easily done this painting without it. I removed the masking liquid and now it's time for the final details. And first I want to start with painting the eyes because it always brings more life and attention to the animal. So I will use Payne's Gray and maybe Payne's Gray and Phtalo in blue to paint the eyes. And again, while my brush is loaded with Payne's Gray, I can apply it somewhere to show the direction and the texture of the top flipper on the back of the fish and some dark black spots. Since I have these white areas where masking fluid was, I have to paint it to create some shade, And first I want to highlight this contrast, so I apply this dark color in between these areas on the tail of the fish. Now I need to cover these reflections on water with some color, and I use this light cobalt turquoise mixed with water, and I cover it carefully. If you want to add some white spots, you can use white gouache. I'm using zinc white to add some white spot on the nose of the fish because I don't like that it's too dark, and I want to bring more contrast between dark water and a very light face of the fish. But don't use a lot because normally white gouache is not traditionally used for watercolor paintings. Now a bit more reflections on the water with a smaller brush, and we are done. Thank you for painting with me. I hope that you liked this tutorial. Please leave a comment with what you would like to paint next, and if you decide to share your painting on Instagram, don't forget to tag my account. I'll see you in the next tutorial.